folks, Tom here. Wanted to bring you a video last day of winter steelhead fishing in Erie, Pennsylvania, Walnut Creek. My daughter Melody and I went up, spent a day up there, had some fun. Rough conditions. Temperature was about 16 to start the day. As you can see, had a significant amount of ice building up on my line above the float. Most of what we had some action on were egg sacs under a float. We did try some other things. Tried flies, egg spatter and sucker spawn, single eggs. Tried some flies. Nothing else seemed to be working. It was just the egg sacs that we seemed to like. So the conditions, as I said, it was cold. Water's running pretty fast. It was actually not as clear to our eyes as you can see in the camera here. Looks a lot clearer here, but we really couldn't see down in there much between the air and the water being dirty. There was some rain a couple days before creek was coming down. The water was cold. There was still some slush and some ice floating along on it. The bite was very light. As you'll see, float barely goes under on this first one that I'm going to get here. But yeah, it was a good time. A little treacherous, icy walking up, ice all over the rocks as you'll see. So let's get to the fishing. So you'll notice that the float is not riding straight up and down. That's because the ice was all over it. So as I look away here, the float goes down. I barely noticed it. Lift
Oh,
up.
fish!
And that's why I use circle hooks. Circle hooks are just fine with the egg sacs. Don't need to do as hard a hook set.
Ooh.
Did have some trouble with the anti-reverse. I kept flipping that switch by accident. And I have failed as a father, teaching my daughter how to net fish properly. You'll see here she's
Okay,
we're
get the
working on it.
net.
We talked about it. We talked about it on the way up, and she did better. A couple weeks before, we'd lost a couple fish. Oop. And there's the icy conditions. She was okay.
Okay. How wet are you? Okay.
Yeah, so she says she wasn't very wet, but that was a lie. She actually got fairly wet. Just didn't realize it until it started soaking
Okay,
through
you gotta get
all the
closer.
layers that she had.
You actually gotta step in the water. Okay, here it comes. Wait, here. Okay, here it comes. Oh,
Yeah,
lift the net. Hold on.
just couldn't get her to lift the net there and scoop the fish up. So,
Here, Mel.
but that's
Here.
okay. She gets to redeem herself here.
Hold on.
I actually couldn't reel it in much further than that from the ice buildup on the line.
Oh,
It
man.
was all jamming up at the
The
top eye.
anti-reverse on my reel's acting up. Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay, get
wasn't
the
so
net
much
in
the
the
reel, it
water.
was me.
Okay, here it comes. Lift. There you go.
And there we go. There's a nice male
Yay!
steelhead.
Okay. Your hands are cold. Okay.
So that ended up being my largest steelhead of the season.
That's a beast.
It is a
Yeah.
beast.
Now Melody ended up going back to the
Hey, I
car
think
after
we were
this
here
and
last
drying
time.
off. These next two, I didn't turn the
Okay.
camera on until I actually hooked up. So now you see it was a little brighter out now. You could start seeing a little more into the water. Again on the egg sac. And this is
Okay.
on the
This will be
same rod that I
challenging.
caught the first one. Now this rod is a 9-foot
Gotta
rod.
get the net. Hopefully don't fall. Ah, there we go. Got a net.
And the net was actually frozen at this point. I had to shake it just to loosen it up so I could get the fish in. But that 9-foot rod does really well. Just
There
swing
we
the
go.
fish in, scoop them up. That was a nice little female. I'd say little. I mean, it was good size.
There we go. Nice
Um,
little steelhead. Oh, not so little, but nice steelhead. On the egg sac.
okay, so I'm trying to get up the hill here, and you can see the ice all over the place. Definitely wasn't our smartest idea coming down to here. So we started getting some company around there. I was still the only one that actually hooked up. One guy, he had a couple hits, but this one I'm using a longer rod. This one's I believe a 12 and a half foot, and it's a much, I won't say much better, but it's a better rod for fighting the fish. But landing one by yourself with this rod is difficult, just because of the length of it, trying to lift it up, get the fish to you. The rod just has so much play and is so long. See here, I had a little trouble getting the fish into the net. I just couldn't pull back far enough to get the fish to come to me at that point. But we managed.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the guy that actually he had one
Whoa.
a little later for a brief minute. So, if you like this video, leave me a comment, give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you want. Always looking to bring you some good content, and we will see you next time.